From school days, science and maths teachers were my favorite subject as well as the teachers. I joined DRDO during the technology denial regime where long range missiles technology was not at all available. The whole 5 missile programs were taken up where we were evolving technology step by step and reaching to an indigenous capability. Establishing an expertise in systems was really a breakthrough.
As program director of both Agni 4 and 5, what were some of the most complex challenges from a personal, professional lens?
It is the emotional steadiness, we can say, all critical missions. Every launch gives us the confidence. The science taught us from the missions, one mission to other mission, it's not the same. Leadership is something like you enable others also to come up along with you. Sustaining effort through all the missions. As a project leader, you have to take your own intuitive decisions.
When you look at the history that you created, you're known as the Missile Woman of India. You were the first woman to lead a missile program. It's a very male-dominated sort of space, right?
We were very few women there working in this strategic role. So we have to take care of support mechanisms. Way back in 1988 when I joined. Within a few months, we started working and then it is not a fixed time of work. So I had to take a decision to buy a Kinetic Honda without even knowing the driving part. So if we have to do it, we have to do it. From very beginning, I used to say science has no gender. It's capability or your competence.
When we say Atmanirbhar Bharat, in the context of defense technology, where do you think India stands?
Talking about the future, we have to develop hypersonic technologies which can give a commercial application, interplanetary missions, then AI-enabled systems, avionics, quantum computing.
If India's next generation of scientists takes away one lesson from your journey, what should it be?
If I could prove, I think things are better off now, the technology, and anyone with a focused mind can do wonders.
Welcome to Up Close, where we zoom in on those who don't just break barriers but redefine what's possible. This is part of our Road to She Spark series, where we spotlight women leaders, entrepreneurs, and change makers who are shaping the economy, communities, and culture. I'm Shivani Muthana, and today we get up close with Dr. Tessy Thomas, who is someone who has proven her scientific excellence as an aerospace engineer and is one of the key architects of India's long-range missile capability. Popularly known as the Missile Woman of India, Dr. Tessy Thomas was the first woman to lead a major missile development project in the country, steering the Agni 4 and Agni 5 programs. As former Director General of Aeronautical Systems at the Defense Research and Development Organization, she played a pivotal role in strengthening India's strategic self-reliance in advanced defense technology. Today, we explore not just the science behind the Agni program, but also the mindset behind mission-driven leadership and what it takes to build complex systems and expand pathways for more women in STEM. Thank you, Dr. Tessy Thomas, for your time. Honor to be having this conversation.
Thank you, Shivani.
To understand your early days as a young engineering student, when defense as well as aerospace technology and engineering was just evolving in India, what were some of your early influences? Was it family, teachers, or any national event that really sparked your fascination in mathematics and science?
It was the science, the mathematics, which has fascinated me the most during my childhood. With that background, I could go for the engineering. So that gave an insight into the real world applications of engineering, wherein which I joined for the MTech in guided missiles. And they started the journey of missile technology. So it's the inner fascination and curiosity for learning mathematics, logical thinking of which the science teaches. So these are the things which has inspired me towards DRDO. I studied in Government Engineering College, Trichy. That gave me the opportunity to understand the engineering of or the science. There was a specific subjects for like radar systems, which I have taken in as my elective in the final year, which gave me the insight into the missile technology. So that application-oriented learning was there, which gave knowledge about that, most of the radar applications in defense fields and all. Definitely teachers, the subjects we get inspired to learn more about, it is all driven by the teachers from school days. I think science and maths teachers were my favorite subject, as well as the teachers what it matters.
Right, and then eventually when you joined the DRDO, it was an era when there was the integrated, guided missile development program. It was the foundational days where those capabilities were just being built. So, what did the ecosystem really look like for you, both, from a scientific level and an emotional level, as a young engineering student who sort of, joined to be part of this nation building program?
I joined DRDO when it was in the transformative phase of India's defense technologies. We all started working during the technology denial regime, where long range missiles technology was not at all available. So DRDO itself had to going through the integrated guidance development program. The whole 5 missile programs were taken up, and where we were evolving technologies step by step, learning, designing, developing the systems, developing the algorithms. It was a starting phase, and then matured into the development and testing. So it was a journey of full-fledged knowledge, starting from system knowledge to a designer and production part, technology know-how and know-why, and reaching to an indigenous capability. And that satisfaction is always there, because from the very beginning of the design to the development phase, learning by ourselves within DRDO and the other scientific organizations like ISRO and all, then establishing an expertise in systems was really a breakthrough.
And you also had the benefit of working very closely with Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam in the initial years of India's missile program as well. So beyond his, technical leadership and mentorship, what were some of the leadership principles that you absorbed that you also practice today?
Dr. Kalam is a visionary leader, all of us knows. And his aim in building up indigenous capability and self-reliance for defense strategic requirement is the one driving force behind all the DRDO working towards this aerospace as well as missile development. So I was fortunate to work under him. When I joined as a junior scientist, he was the director of the laboratory. Every moment, it is an inspirational moment. And I was assigned the job of designing the guidance for this long range ballistic missiles, where technology was not known. So developing algorithms and motivating us all through till we achieved. And he had given us the opportunity, irrespective of like women scientists. As scientists, we were all given the opportunity to learn from all the expertise available within the country. He's a role model. A lot of visionary activities to say planning, and then what we should achieve within 20-30 years. His planning was not a short term, long term endurance of our systems coming into indigenous capability. He was a person who encouraged all the scientists at all levels learn and come up and do things for the country. He is one person who feels that we need leadership is something like you enable others also to come up along with you.
Right now, as a program director and project director of both Agni 4 and 5, if you can tell us what were some of the most complex challenges from an engineering lens, and what really tested India's capability at that point in time, and even from a personal, professional lens, what was the most challenging there?
Bringing in the technology. When it came to Agni 4 and 5, there is a technological jump in technologies, which was earlier used as metallic steel rocket motor casing. We had to take into a composite rocket motor casing, lot of weight advantage. It has a lot of range capability enhancement. So advanced composite materials and knowing the material, designing it, that was one part. There is a sea change in the electronics and the avionics structure. If you think about, we started with missile designing with 8086 Intel processors, which was at the time of Agni 4. Those were already obsolete, and we had to switch over to the new technology, building onboard computers with those technology, the separation stages. All this mattered a lot, from raw material itself, choosing for the new class of missiles, world-class setup made for the Agni 4 and 5. So that is the technological part of movement, and re-entry structure also we had to modify, because it is getting back to the earth with more velocity, and re-entry vehicle structure has to withstand higher temperatures of that order. maybe 1000 degrees more than, almost 3000 to 4000 degrees centigrade when it is outer surface. And the inner avionics has to work within temperatures within the operating range of 50 to 70 degrees centigrade. So all these technological challenges were there, and leading such missile programs from a personal friends, it is the emotional steadiness, we can say, that also used to matter.
Right. So, how did you manage all of that, ma'am? Because, when you talk about these ballistic missile systems, there is literally zero room for error and zero tolerance, really, because you need to balance precision and innovation when national security is really dependent on it. So, what was the internal processes that you had built for yourself to maintain that balance and your nerves really in the midst of all this rocket science?
Yeah, it's to do with consistency, sustained effort in getting the technologies realized from design to the fully production stage, and proving it. So that is one part of the journey. As a personal friend, yes, of course, we have to build a team. Everybody in the missions of this order is not an individual effort; it's a group effort, and so sustaining effort through all the missions. As Agni class of missions, it's each mission is unique, so we can't take it for granted. So it's missions of critical nature. So every stage of team building and then motivating the people, all the leadership qualities in you has to come. And finally, as a project leader, you have to take your own intuitive decisions whether to go ahead with the confidence comes because if you are competent enough in knowledge, know-how, and know why, that gives the strength to take decisions.
So I want to double click on that a little bit because you were also leading these multidisciplinary teams within the scientific engineers. There's propulsion, there's navigation, there is material system integration, all of that. So did you have any sort of mental models that you worked with, because you have a lot of timelines, a lot of strategic critical phases of the mission are also being planned at the same time?
Yeah, because from raw material onwards, as I said, then propulsion technology, all we have to take on step by step, because it's a learning curve as well as leading to research and innovations. And then we have to finally achieve a reliable system. It was going through a phase of learning and then getting into a mature stage of technologies. You need to be putting sustained efforts to achieve this type of technology. That's the thing, because we started from totally first of its kind in technology systems. So total system knowledge plus managing the people around, all this man management, everything was a part of the journey.
And also, it's a very male dominated sort of space, right? So how did you deal with all of that?
Yeah, when the initial phase way back in 1988, when I joined, within a few months itself, I had to take a decision to go for a Kinetic Honda, because we started working and then it is not a fixed time of work, because assignments are put such a way that we have to complete certain of the activities. So I had to take a decision to buy a Kinetic Honda without even knowing the driving part. So after buying only, I had learned the driving, and of course cycling was known to me. If we have to do it, we have to do it. Every step what we have gone through, we were very few women there working in this strategic role and all, so we have to take care of support mechanisms what is required. My husband was from Navy, so he could very well understand what type of responsibility I am holding for the work. So the late hours, maybe starting the day very early, cook for the whole family and for my son also, and then come back, maybe what time we get back is not known. So that is all things which we used to feel that one has to plan for the whole day.
Any societal change that you would endorse? A lot of it in your era, in our parents' era, they would sort of deal with it saying that this is the way society is. What do you think needs to change?
Family members start understanding that women should work, so the women's role and responsibilities are well clear nowadays. Again, priority based decisions in between to go through this.
So just to zoom out a little bit as well, if you look at India's missile programs, they've advanced a lot over the years. Which area would it be? Propulsion? Would it be advanced navigation? Have you seen the biggest leaps happening?
In all the technologies related to aerospace and missile, India has its strong potential in all the technologies. We have mastered on that. So any class of, be it tactical or the ballistic missiles, we have the capability. So that technology over a period of 20-30 years, we have achieved that.
When we say Atmanirbhar Bharat, in the context of defense technology, where do you think India stands right now?
We have established all the technologies required, starting from raw material to the design, algorithm development, and avionics, and mastering all the AI-based enabled also systems are there. All that has been achieved by India, and these aerospace as well as missile technology, we have the indigenous capability and achieved self-reliance also with respect to all the intellectual know-how of these technologies that we have strengthened. So we are strong in all these technologies. We can say that we are self-reliant.
When you look at globally from missile development and aerospace capability, any further investments that India should be making?
Talking about the future, we have to develop hypersonic technologies which can give a commercial application for normal commercial aircrafts also. So these technologies will give us interplanetary missions, as well as then AI enabled systems, avionics, creating advanced materials, quantum computing. So wherever the faster computations and technological enhancements can happen in these areas.
And we've seen a lot of development happening with ISRO as well, right, in terms of India's space ambitions and technology. So how do you see the intersection of defense R&D as well as India's space ambition intersecting and evolving in the next decade?
If you look at the science or the physics behind all this space systems as well as missile systems, they are same. But for a space application, the injection point is determined by the point at which it will be released, so that it enters in the orbit. Whereas missiles, from the injection point, once the missile is released, the payload has to come and impact on a point where it will go and strike. The trajectory and the guidance differ. So these are the things which the intersection is science, and the physics behind the rocket technology is the same, but the inner like guidance, navigation, those and the control, it is to be channelized for the missile application separately. So that is the difference it comes. So both are otherwise technology interlinked. It gives us opportunity once it is established, the technologies of this class in any of these fields, it is usable and adaptive for both applications.
Right. And looking ahead, you spoke about some of the advanced technologies coming into place, AI-driven navigation also a possibility. So when we look at this shift to newer technologies as well, how do you believe the talent ecosystem is taking shape? Do we have the talent here in India, or what would you advise in terms of the skill sets that are required for this?
It has to be an integrated approach, because knowledge level we have established. Now it has to be a collaboration between industry, academia, and the research laboratories, startups. Put together, we have to work for this futuristic technologies. So that gives a upper enhancement with respect to how fast we can achieve. So we have to catch up ahead of the world. So for that, we need to look into collaborative efforts and integrated effort of all stakeholders together.
When you look at probably any sort of errors or failures that happen, failure doesn't end at just being technical, it has national implications. So when you have that weight of that responsibility, right, like how do you sort of take decisions? What roles does ethics and accountability really play?
Yeah, it's a tough task of going through this. And since we are assigned with this leadership role of this class of critical missions, so we are well aware what is the accountability, what is our responsibility. It is for the nation's deterrence. So every step what we go through, the learning curve, the testing part, tested and proven approach is always taken to take the decision. So, and within the country, all the experts are there to support the systems. Being a leader, you need to have a technological depth. So that is a must in these class of systems. If you have technically, you are sound enough to understand and take decisions, that makes the difference. And the emotional steadiness these are the things which matters for a leader to take decisions.
Right, and even your evolution, right, from a project director to an institutional leader, how do you feel your leadership evolved in that path?
Project leadership, knowing the accountability, it is within the project, whereas institutional leadership means it has to be a sustained effort. Job is not ending with one mission, so it has to be institutionalized with all the stakeholders, and sustained efforts from all the team members is required. So you need to mold the institutional capability for committed development.
When you look at the history that you created, you're known as the Missile Woman of India. You were the first woman to lead a missile program here in India. It is a male-dominated area, like we spoke. Did you face any structural barriers there at that point in time? And do you believe any of those still exist for women in STEM? And how can we sort of change that?
I can talk about DRDO as an organization. We were given all opportunity. From very beginning, I used to say science has no gender. It's the capability or your competence by your own achieving the knowledge and then taking up decisions. That is what it mattered in our journey. And we had very visionary leaders in the path of our journey. Everyone in that role mentors the juniors, and then that is the way the DRDO was going ahead.
So what would your piece of advice be for young women and engineers in the area of STEM or wanting to enter deep tech roles? What sort of mindset or skill should they inculcate from the early days?
It's the mind to learn, the focused mind to learn the scientific knowledge, and then sustain in that knowledge and start working on it. Then the things will happen as the organizational requirements or institutional requirements. Your own decision to, or the focused mind to learn things and do. That is what is required in our environment.
Now, just to wrap it up, also a bunch of rapid fire questions to you, Dr. Tessy. One leadership lessons that science taught you early on.
The science taught us from the missions, one mission to other mission, it's not the same. So you need to have a real walkthrough of the quality or the reliability of the system.
And one moment in your career that tested your confidence.
It's the launch of all critical missions. Every launch gives us the confidence.
One non-negotiable quality that every scientific engineer and leader should develop.
It's about the integrity, both in the knowledge as well as the personal front.
And what does national service mean to you personally?
It's a dedicated effort for our India's deterrent capability.
If India's next generation of scientists takes away one lesson from your journey, what should it be?
It's like if I could prove, I think things are better off now, the technology, and anyone who is with a focused mind can do wonders.
Also known as, Agniputri here in India, Dr. Tessy, what would be your one piece of advice for women who have these glass ceilings in their own heads? You've broken barriers, you've sort of expanded the path for many women engineers as well.
It's your intuitive spirit in learning, so and decision making. So that makes you a different person. You have to have the technological knowledge, and then it is your determination to take on.
Thank you so much for your time. A pleasure having this conversation with you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shivani.